Alright, there we are today, giving a little update on the fleet here. Today I've got my 85 Cadillac Eldorado, and we're doing a little bit of a brake job on this car. I noticed the brakes were a little bit, we'll call them a little bit vague. They worked okay once you hit about 3/4 of the way down the pedal on it, and it would stop okay, but that was a bit excessive as far as the pedal travel goes. And after I decided to put new tires on it, I had those mounted up, I had the wheels off. I started really looking at the brake system on this car, and this is all the original stuff. It's been on there since 1985, and at 35 years old, out of hydraulic brake parts, I also noticed the fluid was very, very dark and just didn't look good. So I decided that today's the day. We're going to get this car ready for a road trip. We're going to be replacing the hydraulic brakes, the whole hydraulic system on the car, all the calipers, the brake hoses, master cylinder, pads, rotors. So when I'm done, this will have a complete brand new system, which should last a long time, and should hopefully work really well. And anybody that's had old cars knows that when the hydraulic systems get old, they start to fail, and it's not anything with rubber in it. When it gets about 20 years is about the most you can hope for out of a brake system before they really start giving you trouble. First thing I took off was a master cylinder, and you can see it was already leaking out of the back of it at the end of the power brake booster. And the real culprit of my problems was really in the rear calipers, which these have those lever style parking brake with the screw out pistons. It's an old-fashioned way of doing rear parking brakes on disc brake cars, but they seem to work okay when they're working right, but when they're not, they can definitely cause problems to your brake performance overall. But luckily, this car's like never been in the salt. It has a little bit of a light surface rust, but this car's never been in the salt that I can tell. The brake lines still look like they're brand new, and so far everything's actually come apart. I've actually gotten the brake lines disconnected on this, but just thought I'd put shoot a short little video today out and show everyone what we're working with down here. But these of course have a four-wheel independent four-wheel disc brake system on them, although thankfully these don't have anti-lock brakes. If it had anti-lock brakes, I would probably have to get into that too, and that is not exactly fun nor inexpensive. But you can see a whole stack of new parts from my good old friends down at Napa here in Barberton a plug. But the brake hoses, even the brake hoses, are going to be replaced. It's something a lot of people have a tendency to overlook, or for some reason get afraid to mess with these. But I can tell you that after a while these things get hard, and then they crack, and they start coming apart, and inside they actually can collapse, and they act almost like a check valve sometimes. I've had them do that, where they'll actually lock the rear brakes up or the front brakes up, and they really won't release. And after a while they will, but they can, actually break apart inside and actually clog up and stop the car cold in its tracks, and that's not good. I did notice I've got a little bit of CV joint grease leaking here, though I can't find any tears or cracks in the boots. But might just be they're just come out of the clamp there a little bit. Might tighten it up, pump some more CV joint grease in them. But of course you can see these have the Tornado style front wheel drive with the torsion bar suspension and the independent control arms there. Kind of an interesting design for a car. Of course, under the hood it's got the venerable 4100 aluminum V8 engine, which never were exactly the best, but this one runs pretty good. This car really has otherwise no issues. But I decided I'm going to go on a road trip to a car show down in the southern part of the state, and we're going to take this car. One, because it's an old car, it'd be nice to take, and number two, it's got good working air conditioning, and everything else on this car works pretty much flawlessly. I've not had any complaints with it whatsoever. I really don't have a whole lot of effort tied up in it, but anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and part ways for the rest of the day on the camera so I can get this together hopefully the next day or two and get this done. And if you like the videos, please hit subscribe and like them if you like, and hopefully I'm going to be putting out some more with the Lincoln Continental and the Packards and the Hudson. So with that, I'm going to be signing off, and everyone have a nice day. Stay safe. Thanks.